It's amazing that this long after the Quest 3 launch, we are still getting Quest 3 leaks. And the latest leak is actually showing us how the Quest 3 augments are going to work in mixed reality. We've seen some examples that connect, but now we've seen a leaked video that's already been pulled again. Luckily, people jumped on it and quickly downloaded it, showing off the home environments and even what developing these are going to be like. These mixed reality widgets can be placed all around your home environment, and it looks like these can vary from things like plants, a music player on the wall, to even potentially mini games, where you can see there's a virtual plant that has to be watered every so often. Although that sounds like it could be kind of annoying, there are plenty of mobile games out there that require you to get in every 24 hours and take care of a plant or a pet. This could be a big hit for people who really like things like that. In the video, we also see that the Meta Spark Studio will also be the tool used to build the Quest 3 augments. This is an application that already runs on Windows and Mac, and it makes AR filters and experiences for the camera, whether that's in Instagram, Messenger, or Facebook. We know the Quest 3 augments are coming sometime this year, but does this video make you more or less excited about them? Let me know. We recently reported to you that the Quest TV casting through something like a Chromecast was being dropped on the Quest. After people had seen the feature disappear, Meta had even announced that it was never officially supported by Google and it may be completely removed. Well, after just 2 weeks and tons of complaints, Meta has pulled back on that and has re-released the casting to all devices. Such a short-lived decision that some people never even noticed that the device feature was missing. Now that the feature is back though, Meta is noting that it is not an officially supported feature and may not work for everyone. For a long time now, the only officially supported casting has been either the Meta Quest app on your phone or a PC or laptop via oculus.com/casting. Personally, I always had a problem with the Chromecast. I had one and sometimes it would work great and then instantly it would drop down to 5 frames a second and jump back up. I'm still over here wishing they'd make an official just casting stick that would work really reliably for the Quest. What do you want for casting? If you're still rocking that Quest 2 life and really hoping to step up to the Quest 3, then we've got a Quest 3 giveaway going on for you right now to thank you all for the biggest year the channel has ever had. It's been absolutely amazing seeing all of you showing up and supporting, and we've given away a couple Quest 3s now. For those of you who stuck around on the channel a long time, you know this all started back when Meta was giving us Quest 2s extra just to help give to the community and support. Well, unfortunately, when the Quest 3 came out, they no longer were giving us anything free, but we've been paying for these out of pocket just to say thank you so much to all of you because you've really pushed the channel to new heights this last year. So thank you once again. I'll leave a link in the description and the comments down below in case you haven't gotten entered yet. Make sure you check that out. Mixed reality on Quest 3 seems to only be getting better now as they add more realistic object shadows and highlights. A new feature that developers can start implementing is called pass-through relighting. This lets the developers add shadows and highlights to digital objects, kind of like we were talking about before, where it could even allow you to have an object in the virtual world that causes a bright light actually help push that light out into the mixed reality to make it more immersive. This is a big step for mixed reality, as you can see, because oftentimes if you've tried it so far, you see the real world through the pass-through cameras and then you see a very cartoony mixed reality object. But even here in the example with the plant, how the plant is actually casting light into the real world can help tie those together. I still find for the most part on my Quest 3, I'm playing VR. I'm not doing a lot of mixed reality except when I'm demoing it to people. So I'm curious, how many of you out there are playing a lot of mixed reality consistently? We just got back from CES and I got to play around with some of bHaptics' newest haptic integrations, including their new headset haptic module, their current vest, and even their new tactile gloves. It was pretty cool to see how far along gloves are coming, although I still wished it had more palm modules in it and it was mostly fingertips and wrist vibrations. And although bHaptics has been commonly known and used on the Quest, it's also going to be launching on PSVR 2 soon. In this first quarter of 2024, we're going to see a PSVR 2 launch, allowing you to have the tactile vest, the gloves. Although I only tried the gloves with hand tracking, it might feel a little weird to have a full-on controller in your hand while holding them. And of course, the PSVR 2 already has its own headset haptics, so those won't be necessary for it. Although I gotta say, on the Quest, it was cool to have those headset haptics you're used to from the PSVR, although the motor was much less strong and it was much more subtle. As it does seem like PSVR 2 sales have been slow, though I'm not sure how much more market this is going to open up to bHaptics, but I'll keep you posted, especially for all the Quest users out there, as these come closer to being within reach when we can get them and get those headset haptics too. Another sneaky announcement that happened right at the beginning of CES was Sony revealed a new standalone MR headset, something pretty high-end looking to compete with the likes of Apple Vision Pro. This is a headset that they said is aimed at creatives building 3D content and is going to launch this year. This is based on that new Qualcomm XR2 Plus Gen 2 processor we told you about in the last news, 4K OLED micro displays. Of course, with MR, it's got pass-through video, but it's also got a flip-up visor to flip it up out of your way. And for the first time, the controllers do not match any hand, and one of them is a ring-style controller. Looking at it, you can see a lot of learning from all of the PSVRs they've designed over the years. But I'm curious, what do you think of how this looks, and does this mean they're going to still continue pushing with PSVR-style headsets, or do you think they're going to try and jump to the top of the market with something like this? And of course, the day we left for CES, Apple Vision Vision Pro decided to finally announce its pre-order date and its launch date, with a pre-order date starting very soon, January 19th, 5 a.m. Pacific time, and then these are available starting February 2nd. Apple also announced that they will be hosting some in-store Vision Pro demos on that release weekend for people who want to try these. A big problem that's already been cited is that availability may be extremely limited. These are only available at first in the US, and there's a report saying that less than 100,000 of these are actually going to be available at launch. Although at $3,500, it might take them a minute to sell 100,000 total. Some other reports that we've been hearing over time is that the Apple Vision Pro is not fitting all head shapes and not the most comfortable for everyone, but to help counter this problem, Apple has announced they're actually going to send a second band out. The dual knit band would actually put more of the weight on top of your head rather than having to hold onto the sides, and of course we saw before there's also an optional top strap for that original stock strap. Apple also may be breathing life back into the 3D movie scene, as there's going to be over 150 3D movies available at launch. We saw a time where 3D TVs and 3D movies almost looked like they were going to make it to mainstream, but they never quite did due to the inaccessibility of the technology. And another patent that's come out shows that Apple Vision Pro controllers may actually still be a thing. Patents often don't lead to anything, so keep that in mind when it comes to this section, but we see here different devices like stylus devices, something potentially similar to the Apple Pencil, or even another controller that actually splits into two separate ones. It's a big question of how much the Apple Vision Pro is going to affect the overall market, but already we saw even at CES some knockoffs of the headset that looked a lot like it, and from a distance we were like, wait, what is that we see over there? One of the new ones even talked about a bit on Unbox Therapy's channel, the Mdor VR's EM-AX162, which I briefly tried on, and I gotta say the pass-through looked like absolute crap on it, but of course just the value of getting to market with something that looks like the Apple Vision Pro at a cheaper price may be all they were trying to do. If you're interested in a Vision Pro and you're not in the US, another report says that it may be outside before June. That's not an official report, but from one of the leakers that has been pretty accurate so far as details go. With that only a day or two away, is anybody out there going to be ordering an Apple Vision Pro? We're going to be working with some friends and connections to possibly try to get one, even if temporarily, to review for all of you out there, but with how limited the availability is going to be, it may be hard to pull that off. Pimax was yet another company to unveil some new stuff at CES 2024, and we actually got to get in and check out some of their new technology. There's a new 60G Airlink. This allows wireless PCVR that I've got to say was working quite well, even for being in a convention with a million other Bluetooth, Wi-Fi devices, and everything going on. They had another headset that we weren't allowed to capture any footage on, but we were allowed to check out, and I can say that one looked very crisp through the screen. Pimax has been in an interesting position for many years in the VR landscape because they've chosen to be at the very top end, and they have a very dedicated fan base, but between high prices, high technology demands, they still are not considered one of the most prominent VR companies. With all that going on, we are back from CES, and if you can't tell by my voice in this video, I got a little bit of a travel bug. Luckily, I checked, it's nothing serious, and so we should be returning to more of your normally scheduled content here on the channel. Thank you so much, all of you who have stuck by us this last year, especially as we've been busy the last few weeks. It's been a lot more shorts than full-length videos, but be prepared, we're back on it, and we're back with you once again. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in another reality.